Tonight, you're invited into a story shaped not by noise, but by silence. A silence so deep and sudden that it echoed louder than any storm. As you settle into rest, allow your body to soften gently, releasing the weight of the day. Feel the surface beneath you holding you patiently, like a quiet ledge carved from time itself. There is nowhere you need to go, nothing you need to solve. This night is for listening and resting. High above the world, where the air grows thin and stars feel closer than memory, K2 rises in solemn stillness. It is a mountain known not for welcome, but for truth. Sharp, steep and unyielding, it has always asked climbers to move slowly, to listen deeply, and to accept humility. In 2008, beneath its towering summit, a narrow passage called the Bottleneck became a place where sound vanished, guidance disappeared, and human endurance was tested in darkness. This is the story of The Bottleneck Goes Silent. It is a story of fixed ropes torn away by falling, ice, of climbers suspended in the death zone without direction, without light, and without certainty. But it is also a story of breath counted carefully in the dark, of choices made softly, of human beings holding faith when the mountain offered none. Tonight's telling is not meant to awaken fear. It is meant to honor stillness, patience, and the quiet strength that appears when the world grows silent. As you breathe now, let the breath slow naturally, in and out. Imagine the vast Karakoram sky stretching wide above you, unmoving and ancient. Imagine the mountain standing without sound, not as an enemy, but as a witness. Mountains do not rush, they wait, and in their waiting, they teach. The Bottleneck is a place where climbers pass one by one, trusting ropes, trusting timing, trusting the mountain to hold long enough. On that day, trust was tested when ice fell without warning, erasing the path back down and dissolving certainty into silence. Yet even there, where guidance vanished, something else remained. The human instinct to endure quietly, to help without command, to breathe when nothing else was possible. As you listen tonight, you do not need to picture every detail. Let the story move like a slow prayer, carrying you gently from effort into ease. Let the silence of the mountain become the silence of the night around you. You are safe here, you are supported here, and the journey will unfold slowly, chapter by chapter, breath by breath, guiding you not toward tension but toward peace. Stay here now. The ascent has already begun, not upward, but inward. Before the ice fell, before the ropes vanished and voices were swallowed by wind, there was a narrow passage carved into the upper body of K2. The Bottleneck waited there, steep and exposed, a fragile bridge between effort and hope. Climbers moved through it slowly, one by one, trusting fixed lines and careful timing. Above them hung massive seracs, silent and ancient their presence, accepted as part of the bargain. In those moments the mountain felt tense but familiar, like a held breath. As you rest now, imagine that narrow path not as danger, but as attention. Each step placed with care, each breath counted softly. Let your own breathing slow, as if moving gently through a quiet place where awareness matters more than speed. K2 has always been a mountain of listening. Its steep faces and sudden storms leave little room for error, asking climbers to respond rather than command. On that August day in 2008, climbers gathered above the Bottleneck waiting for space, waiting for light, waiting for the mountain's permission to pass. The air was thin, the sun already lowering. Patience felt heavy, yet necessary. As you lie resting now, imagine that waiting not as tension, but as stillness. Waiting can be calm. Waiting can be faithful. Let your body feel supported in this pause, knowing that rest often begins with patience. Without warning, the mountain moved. High above the Bottleneck, ice broke free, falling with sudden force. The sound was brief, then gone, replaced by silence. Fixed ropes were cut away, anchors torn loose, the known path erased in seconds. Those above and below were left suspended in uncertainty, the way back no longer marked. Darkness began to gather. As you rest now, imagine that moment of silence after sound. Notice how even abrupt change gives way to quiet. Let your breath carry you through that quiet, steady and unbroken, reminding you that stillness always follows movement. In the death zone, where the body weakens and thinking slows, the loss of the ropes felt like the loss of voice. Guidance vanished, commands disappeared. What remained was instinct and breath. Climbers stood or knelt in place, conserving energy, choosing carefully. No one rushed. In that darkness, restraint became survival. As you breathe now, allow yourself that same restraint. There is nothing you need to do quickly tonight. Let the night hold you as those climbers held still, trusting that calm choices begin with stillness. Above the bottleneck, the sky began to dim, turning from hard blue to a softer, uncertain grey. Headlamps flickered on, small circles of light against vast darkness. With the ropes gone, climbers faced a mountain that no longer offered direction. Each person became an island of breath and thought, listening inward for the next right move. In that silence, the mountain felt immense and patient, unconcerned with urgency. As you rest now, imagine that dimming light not as loss but as invitation. Darkness can slow the world. Let your breathing grow quieter, like a lamp turned low, conserving warmth and calm. Some climbers began their descent cautiously, testing holds that had been trusted moments before. Ice under gloves felt unfamiliar, edges less certain. Without fixed lines, every movement required presence. In the death zone, presence is precious. No energy is wasted on fear when breath must be protected. As you lie resting now, imagine moving slowly, deliberately, without hurry. Each breath becomes an anchor. Let your own breath serve that role tonight, grounding you gently in the safety of stillness. Others waited above, choosing not to descend immediately. Waiting became an act of faith. The mountain had taken the path, but not the will to endure. In the quiet, climbers shared glances, brief gestures, small signs of connection. Words were rare, unnecessary. The silence spoke clearly enough. As you rest now, imagine the shared quiet, where presence replaces conversation. Let your body feel accompanied by the night itself, supported without words. Far below, the bottleneck lay in shadow, a place once marked by movement now wrapped in stillness. Ice hung overhead, unmoving as if aware of the lives beneath it. The mountain held its breath again. In that pause, climbers counted time not by minutes but by breaths. As you breathe now, allow time to soften. There is no schedule here. The night unfolds gently, inviting you to rest within its slow, patient rhythm. As darkness settled more fully over K2, the mountain revealed another lesson, that silence can become a companion. The wind eased for a moment, leaving only the sound of breath inside masks and hoods. Without ropes to guide them, climbers relied on memory and feel, tracing the mountain by touch and intuition. Each pause mattered, each choice carried weight. As you rest now, imagine the world growing quiet around you, distractions falling away. Let silence feel supportive rather than empty. In quiet, the body remembers how to rest. High in the death zone, time lost its familiar shape. Minutes stretched and folded into one another, measured only by cold and fatigue. Some climbers stood still to preserve strength, pressing boots into ice, leaning gently into the mountain. Stillness became shelter. As you lie resting now, allow your body to become still in the same way. Feel the surface. Beneath you is something reliable. You do not need to move. Stillness is enough. A few headlamps flickered and dimmed, their batteries weakened by cold. Darkness thickened, not suddenly, but patiently. In that darkness, fear could have grown loud, yet many chose quiet focus instead. They breathed slowly, keeping panic from stealing precious energy. As you breathe now, let your breath lengthen naturally, in and out. Calm breath steadies the body. Calm breath steadies the mind. Some climbers reached places where descent felt impossible for the moment. They waited, listening for any sign of movement above or below. The mountain offered no answers, only silence. In that silence, surrender replaced struggle. As you rest now, imagine releasing the need for answers. Tonight, you do not need certainty. You are allowed to rest within the unknown, held gently by the night. Above the bottleneck, the mountain seemed to listen as carefully as the climbers did. Ice no longer fell, wind did, not rise. The silence felt intentional, almost sacred, as if K2 itself had chosen stillness after taking the ropes away. In that suspended quiet, climbers learned to read the smallest signs. The the firmness of snow beneath a boot, the sound of a breath inside a hood, the way cold settled into fingers and toes. Nothing was rushed. Rushing belonged to safer places. Here, patience was protection. As you rest now, imagine that kind of attention without fear. Let your body notice how supported it already is. The surface beneath you does not shift. The night does not hurry. Each breath arrives gently, reminding you that careful slowness is sometimes the greatest strength. Some climbers began to move again, inching downward with extreme care, choosing routes by feel rather than sight. Hands searched for familiar textures in the ice, memories of daylight guiding them in darkness. Without ropes, the mountain demanded trust. Not blind trust, but trust shaped by presence. Every movement was a quiet conversation between body and stone. As you lie resting now, imagine moving through your thoughts the same way, without forcing direction. Let awareness glide softly, guided by comfort rather than urgency. The night does not ask you to decide anything. It asks only that you remain gentle with yourself, just as those climbers remained gentle with the mountain. For others, waiting continued through long, cold hours. Waiting was not passive. It required discipline, conservation, and faith that light would return. In the death zone, survival often depends on knowing when not to move. These climbers wrapped themselves in stillness, protecting warmth and breath. As you rest now, allow yourself that same protection. Let your muscles loosen instead of holding. Let your breathing find its easiest rhythm. Waiting, when chosen wisely, becomes rest, and rest, when accepted fully, becomes renewal. Far below, unseen and unreachable, the bottleneck remained silent, its vanished ropes a reminder of how quickly certainty can disappear. Yet above it, human resolve did not vanish. It adapted quietly. Climbers supported one another with presence rather than instruction, with shared awareness rather than commands. The mountain had taken the path, but it had not taken compassion. As you breathe now, feel that compassion extend to you. You are not alone in this stillness. The night accompanies you gently, offering rest without conditions, just as those climbers offered one another calm in the darkness. As the night stretched longer, cold settled deeper into the mountain, quiet and persistent. In the absence of ropes, climbers leaned gently into the ice, using it not as an obstacle, but as support. The mountain became something to rest against, not to fight. Every movement was softened, every pause intentional. Energy was saved the way a flame is shielded from wind. As you rest now, imagine leaning into something solid and calm. Feel how support does not always lift you upward. Sometimes it simply allows you to remain. Let your breath stay slow and unforced. The night is not asking you to advance. It is asking you to stay. Above the bottleneck, stars appeared faintly through breaks in cloud, distant and unmoved by human struggle. Their quiet presence offered perspective. The mountain, the climbers, the darkness, all were small beneath that vast sky. In such moments, fear often loosens its grip, replaced by humility and acceptance. As you lie resting now, imagine looking up at a wide night sky. Let its size comfort you rather than overwhelm you. Your worries, like the mountain itself, can exist without pressing in. Beneath that imagined sky, allow your body to relax more deeply, held by something larger than thought. Some climbers found strength in ritual, adjusting gloves carefully, checking a carabiner, counting breaths. These small actions created order where chaos might have grown. Ritual became prayer, movement became meditation. In the death zone, such quiet habits can anchor the mind. As you breathe now, notice your own simple ritual of breathing, in and out. There is nothing else to manage. Let repetition bring calm. The night welcomes this rhythm, steady and reassuring, guiding you gently toward rest. Hours passed without announcement. No signal marked progress. The mountain remained silent, offering neither encouragement nor warning. In that silence, climbers learned to trust time itself. Dawn would come, whether announced or not. As you rest now, imagine trusting the night the same way. You do not need to watch the clock. You do not need to anticipate morning. Time knows how to move forward without your help. Let your body sink deeper into stillness, confident that light will return when it is ready. As the darkness held, the bottleneck felt less like a place and more like a state of being. Above it, below it, and within it, climbers moved through uncertainty with a quiet dignity. The mountain no longer offered a clear route, yet it offered something else, a demand for honesty. Each person had to feel their own limits, to listen inwardly without distraction. In those moments, ambition softened into awareness. Survival was no longer about reaching a summit, but about preserving life with humility. As you rest now, imagine letting go of any need to reach or achieve. Feel how relief arrives when striving dissolves. Your breath becomes the only task, gentle and steady, guiding you deeper into calm where nothing is expected of you. Some climbers, exhausted and weakened by altitude, chose to remain where they were, conserving energy until light returned. This choice required courage of a different kind, the courage to pause when motion felt dangerous. In the death zone, restraint can be wisdom. The mountain teaches this lesson quietly, without words. As you lie resting now, allow yourself the same wisdom. You do not need to push through tiredness tonight. Rest is not surrender, it is care. Let your muscles soften further, knowing that stillness can be an act of strength. Far below, the world continued without awareness of the silence above. Valleys slept, rivers flowed. The contrast felt immense. Yet this separation reminded climbers that life is layered, intense in one place, peaceful in another. That peace existed, even if unseen. As you breathe now, imagine peace existing around you, even if your mind wanders elsewhere. It does not need to be searched for. It is already present. Let your breath guide you back to it, slow and reassuring. As the long night edged toward dawn, the mountain remained still, as if honoring the patience shown by those upon it. No more ice fell, no wind rose. Silence endured. In that enduring quiet, hope returned gently, not as excitement, but as steadiness. As you rest now, allow hope to feel calm rather than urgent. Morning will come in its own time. For now, the night offers you its deepest gift: rest without demand, peace without condition, and the gentle promise that stillness will carry you safely through. As the first suggestion of dawn touched the highest edges of K2, the darkness loosened its hold slightly. Light did not rush in. It arrived slowly, respectfully, as if aware of the long night that had passed. Shapes became clearer. Ice revealed its texture. Distance gained meaning again. For the climbers, this gentle return of light felt like reassurance rather than rescue. It reminded them that endurance often works quietly, without dramatic turning points. As you rest now, imagine a soft light appearing at the edge of your awareness, not waking you, but comforting you. Let your breath remain slow and even. Light can coexist with rest. With daylight returning, choices became more visible, though no easier. The absence of fixed ropes remained, a quiet reminder of how fragile certainty can be. Climbers moved carefully, reassessing each step with humility. The mountain had not changed its nature, it had simply revealed it. In this clarity, fear softened into respect. As you lie resting now, imagine seeing things more clearly without pressure. You do not need answers tonight. Clarity can arrive gently, without effort, when the body is allowed to rest. Some climbers reached safer ground as the morning grew brighter. Their movements remained slow, deliberate, shaped by exhaustion and care. Relief did not arrive as celebration, but as silence, a deep, grateful quiet that settled into the body. Survival rarely announces itself loudly. Often, it arrives as a soft exhale. As you breathe now, notice your own exhale lengthening slightly. Let that exhale carry relief through you, releasing what no longer needs to be held. Above them all, the bottleneck stood unchanged, silent and indifferent to human struggle. It did not explain itself. It did not apologize. It simply remained. In this stillness, climbers understood something essential. The mountain does not act against them. It simply exists. As you rest now, imagine releasing the idea that challenges are personal. Sometimes circumstances simply are. Let that understanding ease your mind. The night is not testing you. It is holding you gently, inviting rest. As more climbers reached lower, safer slopes, the silence of the bottleneck lingered behind them like an unspoken memory. No one spoke loudly. Words felt unnecessary, almost intrusive, after so many hours guided only by breath and instinct. The mountain had taught restraint, and that lesson remained. Each step downward felt like a quiet agreement with life itself, a promise to move carefully, to waste nothing, to listen more than speak. As you rest now, imagine that same careful descent within yourself. There is no rush to think or decide. Let your breathing guide you gently downward into rest, step by step, until effort fades and calm becomes natural. For those still high on the mountain, daylight revealed both beauty and consequence. The ice glowed, softly in the morning light, delicate and dangerous at once. The vanished ropes were visible now, stark reminders of how quickly support can disappear. Yet alongside loss, there was resilience. Climbers adapted routes, helped one another across difficult sections, and shared what little strength remained. As you lie resting now, imagine resilience not as force, but as flexibility. When one path disappears, another appears slowly. You do not need to search for it tonight. Rest allows solutions to unfold quietly, in their own time. The mountain remained calm throughout the morning, as if acknowledging the patience shown during the night. No ice fell, no wind rose. The silence continued, no longer threatening, but almost protective. In that calm, climbers felt a cautious gratitude, not relief, but respect. Survival had come not from dominance, but from listening. As you breathe now, allow yourself to listen inwardly. Notice how your body feels when nothing is demanded of it. Muscles soften, breath deepens. The night, like the mountain, rewards attentiveness with peace. As the descent continued, fatigue settled fully into bodies and minds. Movement slowed even more, shaped by exhaustion and care. In this slowness, a quiet humility emerged. The summit no longer mattered. What mattered was warmth, breath, and the steady rhythm of returning safely. As you rest now, imagine releasing any remaining goals or expectations. Tonight is not about reaching anything. It is about returning gently to yourself. Let your body sink deeper into stillness, supported completely by the night, as the story continues to unfold with calm and reverence. As the mountain released its grip little by little, those descending felt the weight of the night settle behind them like a long-held breath finally exhaled. The bottleneck, now visible in daylight, appeared smaller than it had felt in darkness, yet no less solemn. Its silence lingered, teaching that danger does not always announce itself loudly. Often, it waits quietly. As you rest now, imagine learning from silence without fear. Let your body feel how calm awareness can replace tension. Breathing becomes smoother. Muscles loosen. The night invites you to rest with the same humility the climbers carried as they moved downward, grateful for each gentle step. Lower on the mountain, voices returned softly, not as conversation, but as reassurance. Short phrases, gentle calls, simple confirmations of presence. Communication was careful, respectful of the stillness that had protected them. In these quiet exchanges, connection felt sacred. As you lie resting now, imagine being aware of others without needing words. Feel how connection can exist in shared calm. The night itself feels like a companion, attentive and kind, allowing you to release fully into rest. The sun climbed higher, warming the ice just enough to soften the edge of cold. This warmth was subtle, not dramatic, but deeply comforting. For climbers, it marked the gradual return of sensation and strength. Warmth carries hope quietly. As you breathe now, imagine a gentle warmth spreading through your body, starting in the chest and moving outward. It does not wake you, it comforts you. Let that warmth ease you further into relaxation, reminding you that recovery happens gently, without urgency. Behind them, the bottleneck remained unchanged, a narrow corridor of ice and memory. It would not explain itself, it would not soften, yet it had been passed through with patience and restraint. That knowledge stayed with the climbers long after they moved on. As you rest now, imagine carrying lessons without burden. You do not need to relive challenges to honor them. Let understanding settle quietly beneath awareness, while the night carries you deeper into calm, where nothing needs to be proven and rest is enough. As altitude slowly decreased, the body began to remember strength that had felt distant in the death zone. Breathing eased, though fatigue remained heavy and honest. Each step downward carried a quiet gratitude, not triumphant, but grounded. Survival did not feel like victory. It felt like humility accepted. As you rest now, imagine that easing of breath within yourself. Notice how nothing presses your lungs, nothing demands effort. Let breathing become smooth and gentle, as if the night itself is breathing with you, guiding you toward deeper rest. The memory of darkness stayed vivid even as daylight filled the mountain. Climbers spoke little of it, yet everyone carried it silently. Darkness had taught them restraint, patience, and trust in small decisions. In that way, the night became a teacher rather than an enemy. As you lie resting now, allow darkness to feel instructive and kind. The room around you does not need light to be safe. Darkness can be a cradle, holding you quietly while the mind releases its need to see. Lower camps came into view slowly, their colours bright against snow and rock. These, signs of shelter, did not bring sudden relief but steady reassurance. Familiar shapes, familiar routines, reminders that life continues gently after crisis. As you breathe now, imagine recognizing something familiar and comforting. Let that recognition ease you further into relaxation. You're surrounded by safety now, even if you're not consciously thinking about it. When climbers finally reached places where ropes still remained, there was no celebration. There was only calm, hands moved carefully, voices stayed low. The mountain had taken much, and it deserved quiet respect. As you rest now, imagine moving through safety with the same reverence. There is no need to rush into rest. Let sleep arrive slowly, the way calm always does, unannounced, steady, and complete. As climbers gathered in lower camps, the silence of the Bottleneck followed them like a shadow made of memory. No one rushed to speak about what had happened. Words felt too sharp for something that had unfolded so quietly. Instead, people focused on simple tasks: removing gloves, sipping warm drinks, sitting down carefully. These ordinary actions became grounding rituals, reminders that the body was still here, still working. As you rest now, imagine returning to something simple and familiar. Feel how calm grows when nothing complicated is required. Let your body rest in that simplicity, breathing easily, supported by the quiet around you. The mountain looked different from below, no longer looming but standing apart in stillness. From this distance, the Bottleneck appeared as a thin line etched into ice, almost fragile. Yet everyone knew the truth of it now. Places can be small and still hold immense meaning. As you lie resting now, consider how even small moments carry depth. A single breath, a single pause. Let these small moments be enough. The night does not need grand gestures. It asks only for gentleness. As climbers rested, exhaustion settled fully into their bodies, deep and honest. Sleep came quickly for some, heavy and unbroken. For others, rest arrived slowly, shaped by reflection. Both were accepted without judgment. Survival teaches that recovery has many forms. As you breathe now, allow your own rest to arrive in whatever way feels natural. There is no correct pace. The night meets you exactly where you are, holding you without expectation. In quiet conversations, climbers spoke of the ropes, not with anger, but with understanding. Fixed lines had vanished, but reliance on one another had not. When systems fail, human presence remains. This realization softened something deep inside. As you rest now, feel the reassurance of connection, even in silence. You are not resting alone. The night itself feels attentive, steady, and kind, offering support without words. As the day progressed, the mountain remained quiet, as if honoring the restraint shown during the night. No further ice fell, no sudden wind rose. The stillness felt earned, not accidental. Climbers moved gently within it, aware that calm can be as fragile as danger. This awareness did not create fear, it created respect. As you rest now, imagine respecting calm in the same way. Let your body stay relaxed without pushing deeper. Rest does not need to be forced. It unfolds naturally when treated with care. Some climbers found themselves replaying small moments from the night. A careful step, a shared glance, a breath taken at the right time. These memories were not dramatic. They were quiet confirmations that presence matters, Survival often depends on attention to the smallest things. As you breathe now, notice how small your breath feels, yet how essential it is. Let that awareness bring comfort rather than effort. The night values simplicity. Lower on the mountain, sunlight reflected off ice and rock, creating a soft brightness that felt almost gentle after the long darkness. This light did not erase memory, it softened it. In that softening, gratitude emerged naturally. Gratitude for breath, gratitude for stillness, gratitude for being here. As you rest now, allow gratitude to appear without words. It does not need expression. It can exist quietly, warming the body from within. As hours passed, the bottleneck became something spoken of carefully, almost reverently. It was no longer just a place. It was a moment where silence had shaped survival. Climbers understood that the mountain had not tested strength, but patience. As you lie resting now, feel patience settling into you. There is no need to hurry sleep. It arrives when the body feels safe, and safety grows in quiet. As evening approached again, the mountain's long shadows stretched across the snowfields, reminding everyone how gently time turns. The events of the night before felt distant, yet present, like a quiet echo that no longer demanded attention. Climbers prepared for rest with deliberate calm, knowing that recovery, like survival, requires patience. As you rest. Now, imagine preparing for rest without urgency. There's nothing to brace for. Let the day fade naturally, the way light fades from the mountain's face, slow and kind. Your breath becomes softer. Your body settles more deeply, trusting the rhythm of night. In the middle of this long journey, stillness offers a deeper invitation. You do not have to climb tonight. You do not have to prove endurance or reach any summit. You are here to rest. The mountain story pauses here, not as an interruption, but as a gentle bow toward peace. As you breathe now, feel gratitude for the simple fact of being held. Let your body sink into support. Let the mind loosen its grip. Everything that mattered has already been carried this far. For this moment, rest is enough. Stay here, suspended in calm, where nothing is asked of you and nothing needs to be achieved. After rest, clarity often returns quietly. Climbers noticed this as they woke later, feeling the body slowly reclaim itself. Hunger returned. Warmth spread. Thoughts sharpened gently. Recovery did not arrive all at once. It unfolded patiently. As you lie resting now, imagine your own recovery unfolding the same way. You do not need to feel different immediately. Rest works beneath awareness, repairing without announcement. Let your breathing remain steady and unforced, trusting that renewal happens naturally when given time. The bottleneck, now behind them, remained etched into memory as a place where sound disappeared and attention mattered most. Its lesson lingered. When guidance vanishes, presence remains. This understanding softened the way climbers looked at the mountain and at themselves. As you rest now, allow that lesson to settle gently within you. Even when things feel unclear, you are never without breath, never without the quiet support of the moment. Let that knowledge carry you deeper into calm, where sleep waits patiently, ready to arrive in its own time. As night settled once more over the lower camps, the mountain felt distant, almost gentle in its quiet outline against the sky. The climbers rested, knowing that what had been survived did not need to be revisited in detail. Silence itself had carried them through. In that understanding, sleep came more easily. As you rest now, imagine allowing the day's thoughts to fade without review. You do not need to revisit what has passed. Let your breath move softly, releasing memory with each exhale. The night is wide enough to hold everything without effort. Some climbers slept deeply, their bodies finally free to recover in thicker air. Others drifted between wakefulness and rest, listening to the quiet sounds of camp. Both states were welcome. The mountain had taught them that rest does not look the same for everyone. As you lie resting now, accept whatever form of rest arrives for you. There is no correct way to sleep tonight. Let the night meet you where you are, offering comfort without expectation. In the early hours before dawn, the sky softened again, hinting at another turning of light. The mountain remained unchanged, patient and unmoved by human schedules. This constancy offered reassurance. Not everything needs to respond to urgency. As you breathe now, imagine that steadiness around you. Let it calm any lingering tension. You're not required to keep watch. The night knows how to pass on its own. When climbers eventually began their journey home, the bottleneck remained behind them as a memory shaped by silence rather than sound. It was not the fear that stayed with them, but the calm choices made in darkness. Those choices became quiet markers of who they were. As you rest now, imagine carrying only what is gentle forward. Leave the rest behind. Let sleep deepen naturally, supported by the same quiet patience that carried them safely through the night. As the expedition slowly dissolved into movement away from the mountain, the silence of K2 followed quietly within each person. It was no longer tied to altitude or danger. It had become internal, a steady calm learned through necessity. The memory of darkness without guidance softened into wisdom. As you rest now, imagine carrying calm not as something fragile, but as something learned. Let your body remember how to be still without effort. Your breathing continues gently, teaching the same lesson, that steadiness can exist even after uncertainty has passed. On the long path back, climbers noticed how ordinary sounds returned. Footsteps on snow, fabric brushing in the wind, distant voices. These sounds felt almost tender after the deep silence of the bottleneck. They did not overwhelm, they reassured. As you lie resting now, imagine becoming aware of gentle sounds around you without focusing on them. Let them pass through without pulling you outward. The night allows sound to exist without disturbance, just as rest allows awareness without effort. The mountain remained behind them, but its lesson stayed close when fixed ropes disappeared, breath and presence became the only anchors. That truth reshaped how climbers understood reliance. Support does not always come from structures. Sometimes it comes from awareness itself. As you breathe now, feel how your breath supports you without condition. In and out. Nothing else is required. Let that simple reliability guide you deeper into relaxation, where the body trusts itself again. As days passed and the world widened beyond ice and stone, the bottleneck became part of a larger story, not one of loss alone, but of quiet endurance. Darkness did not defeat those who listened carefully within it. As you rest now, imagine darkness as a teacher rather than a threat. The room around you does not need light to be safe. Let your body sink further into stillness, supported by the same quiet strength that carried climbers through the longest night. With distance from the mountain came reflection that felt calm rather than sharp. Climbers did not replay the night with urgency. Instead, they remembered how quiet choices had carried them when guidance vanished. The bottleneck had stripped away noise, leaving only what mattered: breath, balance, care. These simple truths stayed long after the danger passed. As you rest now, imagine reflection without pressure. You do not need to analyze or revisit anything tonight. Let understanding settle on its own, like snow falling gently, covering edges and softening form. Your breath continues evenly, reminding you that wisdom often arrives when the mind is allowed to rest. In shared moments after the climb, silence still felt natural. Words were chosen carefully, spoken slowly. The experience had taught everyone that not everything needs to be explained. Some things are honored best by being held quietly. As you lie resting now, allow silence to feel complete rather than unfinished. You do not need to fill it. The night welcomes this quiet, offering space where the body can fully release. Let your shoulders soften further. Let the jaw loosen. Let breath flow without observation, steady and kind. The memory of the vanished ropes became symbolic rather than frightening. It reminded climbers that reliance can shift quickly and that adaptability lives inside awareness. When systems fail, presence remains. This realization did not create anxiety. It created trust. Trust in attention, in patience, in the body's quiet intelligence. As you breathe now, feel that intelligence within you. Your body knows how to rest. It knows how to heal. You do not need to guide it. Allow sleep to deepen naturally, like water finding its own level. As the story widened beyond the mountain, the bottleneck transformed into a quiet teaching carried forward into ordinary life. Moments of uncertainty no longer demanded panic. They invited stillness. The night on K2 had shown that darkness does not erase direction. It it simply asks for slower steps. As you rest now, imagine carrying that gentleness into sleep. There is no need to rush into dreams. Let them arrive softly. The night surrounds you patiently, offering rest without demand, just as the mountain offered stillness when sound disappeared. As life gradually returned to its usual rhythms, the silence learned on K2 lingered like a quiet companion. Climbers noticed how often the world moves too quickly, how rarely it pauses to listen. The memory of the bottleneck reminded them that slowness can be protective, even sacred. As you rest now, imagine slowing without resistance. Let your body release the habit of readiness. There is nothing approaching, nothing requiring response. Your breath settles naturally, teaching the body that safety lives in stillness. The night does not rush you. It invites you to soften into its patient calm. In moments of rest, some climbers found their thoughts drifting back to the darkness above the bottleneck, not with fear, but with gratitude. That darkness had revealed what mattered when nothing else remained. Breath became prayer. Presence became shelter. As you lie resting now, imagine your breath as a gentle prayer of rest, in and out. No words needed. Let each breath affirm that you are held, supported, and allowed to let go. The night listens without judgment. The mountain itself remained unchanged, distant and silent, unconcerned with memory or meaning. Yet those who had passed through its narrow corridor were changed quietly. They carried humility, patience, and a deeper respect for stillness. As you rest now, imagine absorbing these qualities without effort. You do not need to earn them. They settle naturally when the body feels safe. Let your muscles loosen further. Let the mind drift gently away from thought. Stillness teaches without instruction. When climbers finally spoke of the bottleneck, they spoke of silence more than danger. It was the absence of sound that stayed with them, a silence that demanded attention and rewarded calm. That silence became a teacher they could return to any time. As you breathe now, imagine returning to silence within yourself, not empty but full and steady. Let it carry you deeper into rest, where nothing presses and nothing calls. The night remains wide and welcoming. As time moved on, the memory of the bottleneck softened into something quieter, almost tender. What remained was not the image of falling ice, but the feeling of stillness that followed. That stillness had taught climbers how to remain present when guidance disappeared. It reminded them that silence is not absence, but space. As you rest now, imagine that space opening gently within you. There is room here for breath, for ease, for release. Let your breathing slow without effort, in and out. The night does not demand attention, it simply holds. In ordinary moments far from the mountain, climbers noticed how often they returned to that calm learned in darkness. When uncertainty appeared, they paused instead of rushing. The bottleneck had taught them that haste steals clarity. As you lie resting now, allow yourself to pause fully. There is no benefit in hurry tonight. Feel how calm spreads when you stop reaching forward. Your body responds immediately, muscles softening, breath settling, awareness drifting gently towards sleep. The mountain's lesson echoed quietly. When the path vanishes, listening becomes the way forward. Climbers learn to trust subtle signals, the feel of ice, the rhythm of breath, the balance of weight. These small cues guided survival more reliably than any rope. As you rest now, imagine trusting the subtle cues of rest, heaviness in the limbs, warmth spreading slowly, breath becoming shallow and easy. These are signs of safety. Let them guide you inward, toward deeper calm. In reflection, the bottleneck was no longer feared. It was respected as a place where human presence mattered more than equipment. Silence stripped away excess and revealed what endures. As you breathe now, feel that endurance within yourself, quiet, patient, and steady. You do not need strength tonight. You need only rest. Let the night carry you gently, the way silence carried climbers through darkness, step by careful step. As memory continued to soften, the bottleneck became less a moment in time and more a quiet principle carried forward. It taught that when noise falls away, truth speaks gently. Climbers learned that listening, to breath, to balance, to one another, was the most reliable guide they had. As you rest now, imagine listening inwardly without effort. Notice how the body communicates safety through stillness. Muscles loosen, breathing slows. Awareness drifts like a leaf settling onto calm water. Nothing needs to be solved. The night invites you to simply listen and rest. In the years that followed, the story of that night was often told carefully, without drama. What mattered was not the fear, but the restraint shown when fear could have taken over. Silence had shaped decisions, guiding survival more effectively than urgency ever could. As you lie resting now, allow restraint to feel peaceful rather than limiting. You do not need to engage every thought that arises. Let them pass quietly, like wind moving through distant peaks, leaving calm behind. The mountain itself remained unchanged, standing in quiet indifference beneath wide skies. Yet those who had passed through the Bottleneck carried a gentler pace into the world. They knew that not every moment requires action. Some moments ask only for presence. As you breathe now, feel presence settling into you. Your body knows how to be here without effort. Let sleep deepen naturally, guided by the same patience that carried climbers through darkness without ropes or sound. When climbers reflected on the Bottleneck, they often spoke of darkness as a place of clarity rather than confusion. Without sight, attention sharpened. Without sound, inner guidance became louder. As you rest now, imagine darkness as a place where clarity can grow softly. The room around you does not need light to be safe. Let your body sink further into stillness, trusting the night to guide you gently toward rest, just as silence once guided survival on the mountain. As the story settled into memory, the Bottleneck came to represent a quiet threshold rather than a single place on the mountain. It was the moment when noise fell away and only attention remained. Climbers carried that understanding into ordinary days, noticing how often life offers similar thresholds, pauses where listening matters more than action. As you rest now, imagine standing at such a gentle threshold where nothing pushes you forward. Feel how safety grows when you stop reaching ahead. Your breath moves easily, uncounted. Your body rests as if it has found the exact place it needs to be. The night holds you here, steady and calm. In the absence of ropes, climbers learned to trust the most reliable guide. They had awareness. Awareness did not rush. It noticed texture, balance, and breath. It adjusted quietly, moment by moment. This way of moving stayed with them long after the climb ended. As you lie resting now, allow awareness to soften into the background. You do not need it to guide you anymore. Sleep takes over naturally when the body feels safe. Let awareness fade gently, like light dimming at dusk, leaving rest behind. The silence of that night on K2 became a place climbers could return to inwardly whenever life grew loud. It reminded them that calm is not the absence of challenge, but the presence of patience. As you breathe now, feel patience settling into you without effort. There is no urgency here. The night does not ask you to move, decide, or understand. It simply invites you to rest. Let your muscles soften further. Let your breath become barely noticeable. Sleep approaches quietly without announcement. At the end of the story, the Bottleneck stands not as a warning, but as a reminder. When fixed paths vanish, stillness can become the safest ground. Silence can become guidance. As you rest now, allow that reminder to carry you gently toward deeper sleep. You do not need direction tonight. The night itself provides it, holding you in quiet assurance. Let go completely. Rest is already here, steady and kind, unfolding on its own. As the long arc of the story draws closer to completion, the mountain's silence feels less like an ending and more like a settling. What once felt tense now feels resolved, not because every question was answered, but because listening replaced urgency. Climbers learned that survival sometimes arrives quietly, carried by patience rather than force. As you rest now, imagine that same settling within yourself. Notice how the body naturally releases when nothing is required of it. Your breath flows gently, unobserved. The night surrounds you with steadiness, allowing rest to deepen without effort or expectation. The memory of vanished ropes no longer carried shock. It became a symbol of impermanence, reminding climbers that even trusted supports can fall away, yet something deeper remained untouched. The ability to stay present. That presence became the truest anchor. As you lie resting now, feel how presence still exists even as thoughts fade. You do not need structure or guidance to rest. Sleep arrives when the body senses safety. Let your awareness drift softly, trusting that rest knows its own way. In quiet moments afterward, climbers often returned inwardly to the stillness of that night. It felt like a calm chamber they could step into whenever life grew loud. Silence, once endured, became chosen. As you breathe now, imagine entering such a chamber within yourself. It is dim, warm, and unhurried. Nothing echoes here, nothing intrudes. Let this inner quiet expand gently, carrying you deeper into ease where sleep unfolds naturally, without effort or command. The bottleneck, now part of memory rather than immediacy, offered its final lesson gently. When the world goes silent, attention becomes sacred. Every breath matters, every pause holds meaning. As you rest now, allow this lesson to soften into reassurance. You do not need to stay alert tonight. The night itself watches over you. Let your body grow heavy and supported. Let the mind loosen completely. Rest has already arrived, quietly and faithfully, just as it did on the mountain when sound disappeared. As the story moves toward its quiet close, the mountain no longer feels distant or imposing. It feels like a witness that has already seen enough. The bottleneck rests now as a place where attention outweighed fear, where listening carried more strength than force. Climbers carried this knowing gently, without urgency to explain it. As you rest now, imagine letting experiences settle without analysis. You do not need to extract meaning tonight. Let meaning rest where it belongs, beneath thought. Your breathing remains slow and natural, like a tide that no longer pulls. The night accepts you exactly as you are, without asking for effort. In the calm that followed, climbers noticed how their bodies remembered the night before their minds did. Movements became slower, pauses felt intentional. Even in safety, they carried the mountain's patience within them. As you lie resting now, allow your body to remember calm without instruction. Notice how heaviness spreads comfortably through your limbs, how the surface beneath you feels steady and reliable. Let your breath soften further, as if the night itself is breathing for you. Nothing presses, nothing approaches. Rest is already happening. The bottleneck's silence did not fade with time. It transformed into a quiet inner reference point, a reminder that when the world strips away certainty, something essential remains: breath, awareness, care. These simple anchors had carried life through darkness. As you breathe now, feel these anchors gently supporting you. You do not need to hold them. They hold you. Let awareness drift farther back, like a light dimming low enough that it no longer illuminates anything. Sleep deepens naturally in this quiet. As reflections settled into peace, climbers understood that the mountain had not demanded heroism. It had asked for humility. The night had not asked for answers. It had asked for patience. As you rest now, allow humility to feel like ease. There is nothing to prove, nothing to conquer. Let the night finish what it has been gently doing all along, guiding you toward deep, unbroken rest. Your body feels heavy, supported, safe. The story continues to soften, preparing for its final quiet descent into stillness. As the final stretch of the story unfolds, the mountain feels less like a place and more like a memory that has settled gently into the body. The bottleneck no longer carries urgency, it carries quiet understanding. What happened there does not demand replay, it rests, complete. As you lie resting now, imagine allowing memories to settle the same way. You do not need to revisit or resolve them. Let them lie softly beneath awareness, like stones resting at the bottom of clear water. Your breath continues evenly, undisturbed. The night supports this gentle letting go, offering rest without asking you to remain alert. In the silence that followed survival, climbers learned that endurance often leaves no dramatic trace. It does not always announce itself with triumph. Sometimes it looks like quiet sitting, slow breathing, careful attention. This kind of endurance is humble and sustainable. As you breathe now, feel that endurance within yourself. Not the kind that pushes forward, but the kind that allows you to remain. Remain still. Remain safe. Remain at rest. The body understands this endurance deeply, relaxing into it as sleep draws closer. The bottleneck's final teaching arrived without words. When sound vanished and support disappeared, presence became enough. That truth stayed long after the mountain was left behind. As you rest now, allow presence to feel sufficient. You do not need stimulation. You do not need distraction. Simply being here, breathing gently, is enough. Let the room around you fade from importance. Let awareness drift inward, settling into a quiet space where sleep forms naturally, without invitation. As the story nears its quiet close, the mountain stands once more in silence, unchanged and unconcerned. It does not seek to be understood, it simply exists. In that example, climbers found peace. As you rest now, imagine allowing yourself to exist without explanation. You're not required to do anything more tonight. Let your body grow heavier, supported fully. Let the mind loosen its last threads of attention. The night continues its gentle work, carrying you steadily toward deep, uninterrupted rest. As the story continues to soften, the memory of the bottleneck becomes almost weightless, like a quiet breath remembered rather than a place endured. What remains is not the sharpness of danger, but the gentleness that followed it. Climbers carried this gentleness into their movements, their conversations, their silences. As you rest now, imagine gentleness settling into you the same way. There is no need to brace. The night is calm and steady. Let your breathing become slower still, shallow and easy, like a tide that has reached its quietest point. In the quiet aftermath, climbers noticed how deeply silence had changed them. It taught them to listen without seeking answers, to wait without impatience. Silence became a form of trust. As you lie resting now, allow silence to feel trustworthy. It does not threaten. It does not rush. It holds. Let your body sink further into the surface beneath you, supported evenly, patiently. Muscles release without instruction. Sleep continues to deepen, moving gently, naturally. The mountain's presence lingered not as an image, but as a feeling. Steady, unmoving, unconcerned with outcome. This steadiness offered comfort. Not everything needs to respond to human effort. As you breathe now, imagine borrowing that steadiness. Let it quiet any remaining tension. There is nothing left to manage tonight. The night carries the rhythm forward on its own, breath by breath, moment by moment. As the final reflections draw closer, the bottleneck stands as a quiet threshold already crossed. Nothing pulls you back toward it. Nothing asks you to relive it. It rests complete. As you rest now, imagine allowing the story to rest as well. You do not need to follow it further. Let awareness loosen completely. Let the mind drift away from narrative. Sleep is no longer approaching. It is already here, steady and kind. As the story reaches its quiet edge, the mountain feels distant, like a shape softened by time and memory. What once demanded attention now rests without weight. The bottleneck has become a place of learning rather than tension, a reminder that stillness can carry life forward when sound disappears. As you lie resting now, imagine allowing effort to dissolve completely. There is nothing left to attend to. Your breath flows gently, unnoticed. The body no longer listens for instruction. It simply rests, trusting the night to hold everything that remains. In the final remembering, climbers no longer separate themselves from the silence of that night. It has become part of them, woven into how they pause, how they listen, how they rest. Silence is no longer something to endure. It is something to return to. As you breathe now, imagine returning to silence within yourself. Not empty, not cold, but calm and full. Let your muscles soften further. Let the space behind your thoughts grow wider and quieter. Sleep deepens without effort, like darkness settling gently after dusk. At the end of the climb, what mattered most was not what was lost, but what remained. Breath remained. Presence remained. Care remained. These simple things carried life through the longest night. As you rest now, feel these same things supporting you. You do not need to hold them. They are already holding you. Let awareness drift farther back, like a light dimmed low enough to disappear. The night feels steady, patient, complete. The bottleneck goes silent one last time, not as a warning, but as a blessing of stillness. The mountain rests, the story rests, and you rest. There is nothing more to follow, nothing more to hear. The night has done its work gently and without demand. Allow yourself to remain here, supported and calm, as sleep settles fully and naturally around you. The night does not move forward. It opens outward. What remains now is not story, not memory, not meaning, but a wide, patient stillness that has no need to change. The mountain has already receded into silence. The journey has already softened into rest. Nothing is being carried anymore. Breathing continues quietly, in and out. So gentle it barely brushes awareness before fading again. The body breathes because it has always known how. It does not wait for permission. It does not need to be watched. Your body feels heavy and distant now, fully resting into the surface beneath you. The legs no longer feel separate from the bed or floor. The arms lie loose, weightless, forgotten. The chest rises and falls faintly, slowly, as if the night itself is breathing through you. Even the muscles of the face have softened completely, jaw loose, tongue resting, brow smooth and calm. Awareness drifts farther back, like a light dimmed so low it no longer illuminates anything. Thoughts do not gather here. Images do not form. Memory does not reach backward or forward. Everything that once asked for attention has already been released. This stillness feels ancient, familiar, safe. It does not feel new. It feels remembered. Imagine the mountain again, not as a place of danger or effort, but long after. All movement has ended. No headlamps glow. No wind cuts the ridge. Snow lies untouched. Ice rests without sound. The bottleneck exists again as pure silence, no longer shaped by fear or urgency. The mountain does not remember struggle. It remembers only stillness. Let your body mirror that stillness now. Breathing continues, in and out, each breath smaller, slower, softer than the last. Time loosens completely. Minutes do not pass. Hours do not arrive. One moment dissolves into the next without edges or separation. The night stretches endlessly, unconcerned with clocks, conclusions, or outcomes. If a thought drifts through awareness now, it fades before it can finish forming. There is no effort required to let it go. Awareness simply no longer holds on to anything. The nervous system settles deeper still, heartbeats slow and steady, muscles fully released. The body has recognized complete safety. Sleep is no longer something you are approaching. It is something you are already inside. Imagine sinking gently inward, not downward in space, but inward into rest. Each exhale allows awareness to drift farther from the surface of consciousness. There is no falling, no motion, only settling, in, out. The world beyond this moment feels distant and irrelevant. Sounds, if they exist at all, are softened beyond meaning. Sensation fades until only warmth and support remain. Darkness here is not empty. It is full, protective, kind. You're not required to stay aware. You're not required to listen. You're not required to remember. The night carries everything now. The body continues its quiet work of restoration. Cells repair, muscles recover, breath continues faithfully. Everything essential happens without guidance or effort. Imagine drifting deeper still, beyond language, beyond story, beyond identity. This is the depth where sleep becomes continuous and unbroken, where awareness no longer needs to return. There is no anticipation here, no checking, no waiting. The mountain sleeps, the story sleeps, and you sleep. Stillness remains complete and uninterrupted. Nothing approaches, nothing ends. The night holds you steadily, without condition or expectation. The night continues to widen in a way that cannot be measured, as though it has gently stepped outside of time altogether. There is no sense of before or after now, no awareness of sequence, no feeling that anything is progressing toward a conclusion. This stillness does not move. It does not deepen or fade. It simply exists, steady and complete, like a vast dark ocean with no surface ripples and no visible shore. Within this quiet, the body naturally yields further, not because it is told to, but because nothing is resisting anymore. Muscles soften without instruction, breath flows without observation. The nervous system, long accustomed to scanning and preparing, finally rests fully, recognizing that there is nothing left to guard against. Even the subtle sense of being awake begins to dissolve, replaced by a calm absence of effort that feels profoundly safe. Breathing now feels almost symbolic rather than physical. In and out. Each breath seems to pass through without leaving a trace, like air moving through an open space. The chest rises and falls so gently it barely registers. The body breathes because life continues, not because attention is present. Awareness has stepped far enough back that it no longer follows sensation. The mind does not label or comment. It does not wander or plan. It simply rests, unengaged, unburdened. Any lingering thought that attempts to surface finds no foothold here and dissolves instantly, without struggle, without resistance. Imagine now the earth itself at rest. Not just a mountain, but the deep ground beneath everything. Ancient, unmoving, endlessly patient. This ground has held storms, seasons, and centuries without needing to react. It supports quietly, without effort or awareness. Let your body feel as though it is resting directly upon that deep ground, supported by something far older and steadier than thought. There is no pressure here, no instability. Everything is held evenly, perfectly, without condition. In this space, rest does not feel temporary. It feels absolute. Time has fully lost its meaning now. There is no sense of duration, no awareness of how long you have been resting, or how long rest will continue. One moment does not follow another. They blend seamlessly, forming a continuous field of calm. The night does not anticipate morning. It does not count down toward light. It simply remains, offering uninterrupted rest. The body responds by sinking deeper into sleep, not suddenly, but gradually, as if lowering into warm water that welcomes it completely. In this depth, the idea of listening fades. Words no longer matter. Sound itself feels distant and irrelevant. Even silence as a concept disappears. What remains is a gentle absence of stimulation, a quiet fullness that does not need to be named. Awareness itself grows faint, thinning to the point where it no longer observes or reflects. It simply rests alongside the body, unengaged and content. This is the place where sleep becomes continuous, where there are no edges to awareness and no need for it to return. As rest continues uninterrupted, the boundary between body and space begins to soften further. Sensation fades not abruptly, but kindly, as though the night is gently drawing a veil over awareness. The weight of the body feels evenly distributed, no single point calling for attention. Arms, legs, back and chest blend into a single experience of warmth and support. There is no need to adjust or move. The body has found its most natural position, one that requires no effort to maintain. In this state, even the idea of having a body feels distant, abstract, unimportant. Breathing remains steady and automatic, in and out. Each breath flows effortlessly, uncounted and unobserved. The rhythm is slow and consistent, signaling deep safety to the nervous system. Heartbeat follows this rhythm, calm and unhurried. The body is fully committed to restoration now, turning its attention inward to repair and renewal. Muscles release deeply held tension, nerves soften, systems recalibrate quietly, without instruction. Everything essential continues without awareness, guided by instinct far older than thought. The mind, having stepped aside, no longer forms images or narratives. Memory does not intrude. Imagination does not wander. There is no curiosity about what comes next. The sense of identity itself loosens, becoming less defined, less relevant. In this space, there is no need to be anyone or to understand anything. Existence feels simple and sufficient. The night does not ask for meaning. It offers rest. Imagine now a vast, dark sky with no stars, no clouds, no movement. Not empty, but full. Full of quiet, full of depth, full of calm. This sky does not change. It does not react. It simply holds space. Let your awareness dissolve into that sky, becoming as still and unresponsive as it is. There is no effort required. Letting go happens naturally when nothing is being held. Time no longer feels like something that passes. It feels suspended, irrelevant. There is no sense of waiting, no anticipation of waking. Sleep here does not come and go. It remains. The body sinks deeper into this continuous rest, where awareness no longer checks in and no thoughts return. This is the depth where sleep is unbroken, where consciousness rests beneath itself, untouched by sound, memory, or intention. The night now feels complete, in a way that does not suggest finality, but wholeness. Nothing is missing. Nothing is approaching. Calm exists without contrast, uninterrupted and steady. In this depth, even the idea of sleep fades, replaced by a state of pure restfulness that has no label. The body remains still, breathing quietly, held entirely by the surface beneath it. There is no awareness of posture, no sense of weight shifting or needing adjustment. Everything has settled into its most effortless form. Breathing continues softly, barely perceptible, in and out. Each breath feels lighter than the last, as though it is happening somewhere far away. The chest rises and falls gently, but attention does not follow it. The body breathes because life continues, not because awareness is present. This automatic rhythm signals deep safety, allowing the nervous system to rest without vigilance. The body is no longer listening for sound or scanning for change. It trusts completely. Awareness has now thinned to the point of near absence. There is no commentary, no observation, no reflection. Even the sense of resting feels distant. What remains is a quiet state of being that does not require description. It is not active, it is not passive, it simply is. In this state, the mind no longer returns to check in. It has surrendered fully to the night. Imagine drifting in a vast, calm space with no edges and no direction. There is no up or down, no forward or back. Movement is unnecessary because nothing needs to be reached. The body floats in this space without effort, supported completely. There is no sensation of falling or moving, only stillness, warm and steady, like being held without hands. This is the depth where sleep becomes continuous and seamless. Awareness does not reappear. Thoughts do not form. The body remains deeply at rest, restoring itself quietly and completely. The night holds everything now. Breath, body, and mind, without condition or expectation, remain here. Let everything stay exactly as it is. The stillness lingers in a way that feels almost tender, as though the night itself is carefully maintaining its quiet, so nothing disturbs your rest. There is no shift in energy, no subtle pull toward wakefulness. Everything has settled into a steady calm that does not fluctuate or demand attention. The body understands this state instinctively. It does not question it. It does not interrupt it. It simply remains. Breathing continues, slow and effortless, in and out. Each breath arrives without announcement and leaves without trace. The chest rises and falls so gently it feels more like a suggestion than a movement. The body breathes because it is alive, because it has always done this through darkness, through sleep, through silence. Awareness no longer needs to follow the breath. It no longer needs to observe or guide. Breathing continues on its own, steady and reliable without thought. Your body feels fully surrendered to rest now, not collapsed, not heavy with strain, but supported in a way that feels complete and balanced. The surface beneath you holds every part evenly, patiently, without demand or expectation. There is no sense of pressure anywhere, no place that calls for adjustment. The body has found a position where nothing needs to change, where stillness feels natural rather than forced. The legs feel distant, warm, relaxed beyond awareness. The arms rest loosely, detached from effort or intention. The hands do not grip or curl. They simply exist, open and unguarded. The shoulders have softened completely, releasing weight they no longer need to carry. The neck rests without tension, the head supported gently, as though it has been set down with care rather than placed. Even the subtle muscles of the face have let go. The jaw hangs loose and unprotected. The tongue rests naturally without pressure. The brow is smooth and open. The space behind the eyes feels dark and quiet, free of images or movement. There is no longer a sense of looking inward. Awareness has stepped back too far for that. It has loosened its grip and faded into the background. The mind does not wander here. It does not replay the day. It does not anticipate the morning. Thought has thinned into silence, leaving behind a wide, open calm that feels safe rather than empty. There is nothing to think about and no reason to think at all. The effort of thinking has dissolved completely. Silence deepens further, but not in a way that feels heavy or pressing. It feels fuller, like a gentle blanket drawn slowly over everything. This silence does not press inward. It supports, it protects. Any sound from outside the room, if it exists at all, feels far away and unimportant, softened by distance and layers of rest. It does not reach you. Time is fully dissolved. There is no sense of duration here, no awareness of how long you have been resting, or how long rest will continue. Moments do not pass. They simply blend together, one into another, forming a continuous field of calm. The night does not move toward morning. It simply remains. The story that carried you here has completely settled. There is no pull to revisit it. The mountain no longer rises in the mind. The bottleneck no longer narrows attention. They have become quiet symbols of endurance rather than places of tension. Their work is done. They rest, and because they rest, you rest. Awareness continues to drift gently downward, not in space, but inward. Each breath allows it to sink further beneath the surface of consciousness. There is no falling, no sensation of movement, only a gradual softening, like settling into warm water that supports you completely. In, out. The body continues its quiet work of restoration without supervision. Muscles repair themselves gently. The nervous system remains settled in deep safety. The heartbeat stays slow and steady. Breath flows faithfully, unnoticed. Everything essential continues exactly as it should, without effort and without instruction. There is no vigilance here, no readiness, no alertness. The body has recognized that it is safe to remain asleep. If a dream begins to form, it does so softly, without pulling awareness back to the surface. Images drift gently without sharp edges or meaning. They come and go without demanding attention. If no dreams come at all, that is just as natural. Sleep remains deep either way. The night does not judge how you rest. It does not measure the depth of your sleep. It simply holds you, steadily and without condition, allowing rest to unfold exactly as your body needs it to. Nothing is expected of you now. Nothing is required. Nothing is waiting. Even the sense of being aware fades further. Listening becomes unnecessary. Words lose their shape and importance. The voice guiding you no longer needs to be followed. Sleep has taken over completely, carrying you into a depth where sound and thought no longer reach. The night is wide enough to hold everything: breath, body, memory, silence. Without strain or effort, it remains patient, unchanging, protective. Stay here. Let the night continue its quiet work. The stillness remains absolute now, so complete it no longer feels like an absence of sound, but a presence in itself. It wraps gently around the body, around the breath, around the faintest traces of thought that might still exist somewhere far below awareness. This quiet is not fragile. It does not require protection or effort to maintain. It exists on its own, steady and self-sustaining, like the deep ocean beneath the surface where waves never reach. Nothing intrudes here. Nothing sharpens focus or draws attention upward. The body continues resting in perfect cooperation with the night, aligned with its rhythm so completely that even the idea of movement feels distant and unnecessary. Breathing flows on, slow and faithful, each inhale arriving as softly as the last, each exhale dissolving without leaving a mark. The boundary between breath and stillness becomes blurred until it is no longer clear where one ends and the other begins. The body feels neither light nor heavy. It exists in a neutral state, suspended in comfort, free from effort or tension. Muscles no longer register as separate parts. They have melted into a single, unified sense of ease. The nervous system remains deeply settled, responding only to the steady reassurance of safety. There is no scanning, no checking, no anticipation. The heart maintains its gentle rhythm, unhurried and calm, beating not with urgency but with quiet certainty. Circulation moves smoothly, warmth evenly distributed, as though the body has found its most natural and effortless state. Awareness continues to soften, thinning further, becoming less defined. It does not disappear suddenly. It fades gradually, like a light dimmed so slowly it goes unnoticed. Thought does not return. Memory does not surface. There is no storyline forming, no mental imagery demanding attention. Even the sense of being someone resting here begins to loosen, becoming vague and unimportant. There is simply rest happening, without ownership or observation. Time remains dissolved, stretched so thin it has no edges. There is no before or after, no sequence of moments. Everything exists in a continuous now that does not move forward. The night remains unchanged, stable and reliable, holding this state without fluctuation. If sensations arise, they pass instantly, too faint to register. If sounds exist somewhere beyond the room, they are absorbed by distance and silence, stripped of meaning before they can reach awareness. The mind stays quiet not because it is controlled, but because it has nothing left to do. Nothing needs solving, nothing needs understanding. The night has already taken responsibility for everything. Rest deepens in a way that feels permanent, as though this calm has always been here and always will be. The body remains exactly where it is, fully supported, fully surrendered, allowing sleep to continue uninterrupted and complete. The night continues its work patiently, without pause, without expectation, maintaining this deep restorative state effortlessly. Every system within the body operates in quiet harmony, repairing, recalibrating, restoring balance in ways that do not require awareness or intention. Cells renew themselves gently, muscles release stored tension completely. The nervous system remains anchored in profound safety. Breathing stays slow and unforced, moving like a natural tide that neither rushes nor resists. Inhale and exhale flow seamlessly into one another, each breath supporting the next without interruption. The body feels held not just by the surface beneath it, but by the night itself. There is no pressure, no imbalance, no discomfort calling for adjustment. Even subtle sensations have faded, leaving behind a smooth, even field of rest. Awareness drifts so far inward that it no longer recognizes itself as awareness. There is no observing, no listening, no following. Words dissolve into the same quiet that surrounds everything else. The guiding voice has fully receded, no longer needed, no longer perceived. Sleep has taken complete precedence, deep and uninterrupted, carrying the body and mind into a state where sound, thought, and time cannot reach. Dreams, if they appear, remain soft and indistinct. If there are no dreams, the rest remains just as deep, just as complete. Nothing changes. Nothing needs to change. The night does not move toward an ending. It does not prepare for morning. It simply remains, wide and steady, allowing rest to continue for as long as it is needed. The body stays asleep because it knows this is where it belongs. Breath flows. Heartbeat remains calm. Silence holds everything without effort. Stay here. Let the night continue its quiet work. If dreams come, they come softly. If sleep deepens further, it deepens without announcement. If awareness fades completely, it fades without resistance. Nothing pulls you forward, nothing lingers behind you. Everything exists exactly as it should. If tonight's journey brought peace to your spirit, remember to like this video, subscribe, and share the survival story you would love to dream through next. And when you're ready, allow the next quiet story to carry you further along your own path of endurance and rest. May peace guard your dreams until morning, and may grace be the first light to greet you when you wake. Good night.